BAZE!
Hey! Hey! What?
We got a new BAZE MALBUS to open. It's finally here. People have been screaming about this. I want to start by, like, look, this is not a particularly great figure by modern standards. The 5-point of articulation BAZE MALBUS, I believe it came in a 2-pack in the Rogue One era. But still, you know, I'm on the record. I like 5 points of articulation figures. I wish they still made them because they made a lot more of them and you got characters like this pretty quickly instead of after a decade. And I think that's something that maybe vintage collection collectors have lost sight of. Meanwhile, I should say, like, you know, I grew up in this era. So for me, this is a masterpiece, even while I acknowledge that this is much nicer. I also want to take the time to acknowledge that there's been a lot of people throughout the last 10 years who have, in comment threads on Reddit, in YouTube threads, everywhere else, have said, we need this. We need it. We don't need this. We want this. It's a simple word substitution. We need world peace. We need regulation on AI. We don't need a new toy. This is a toy. We want this toy. BAZE is $397, and as you can tell, because Hasbro's making it super obvious, deluxe. Deluxe. You guys didn't like the bigger packages. You didn't like when they came in boxes, so now we're stuck with this big ketchup and mustard sticker on the front. Speaking of collectors complaining, there's a lot of complaining about what justifies a deluxe versus not. And the answer for me is I don't care. I really don't care. Like, these are, if you want a figure that is tooled like that, again, as opposed to like that costs a lot of money when there's only like 10,000 of us buying them. So you get what you pay for, and that's just reality. I don't know why BAZE here with all of his accessories is a deluxe, whereas the Bodhi Rook that is coming is not, because it seems to me like they come with the exact same number of accessories, but that's just the way it shook out. So BAZE is so accessoried up that he's got 2 trays, one for him and one for his big ass gun and backpack. Let's start with him. I mean, I said his gun and backpack. That was not even true. His gun's in here. His I guess it's the ammo loading belt is in the other thing with the backpack. Now, if there's one thing I never get tired of, it's a soft goods haft cape. Like, I'm pretty on the fence about whether soft goods is the right approach for like a Jedi robe or anything else that has to billow or that can billow, because obviously clothing scale is an issue. But when you're just talking about a little strip of fabric like that, I mean, come on. Not unsurprisingly, a magnificent rendering of Wen Jiang as BAZE MALBUS. And of course, now one of the great duos in Star Wars history can finally hang out together and potentially kiss. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe we did need this, because one thing about action figures that is definitely true is you want them to be able to do action. That is where this guy really fell down. He stood ramrod straight, stock still. There was no pose. I mean, I guess you could pose him in kind of a run, but that was it. Whereas new BAZE here, I feel like you're gonna be able to do just about anything up to and including gymnastics, and that's fine with me. Yeah, hair is fantastic, face is fantastic, articulated in all. I'm gonna go with, these are barbell hips. Someone told me what they are once, and I don't even remember. But yeah, they look like barbell hips. Deep stances, look at that. And I haven't even got his crap on him yet. Okay, so tray 1. There's a little thing here, which is, I don't know, a walkie-talkie? I don't even know what that is. There's a hole on the back of his belt that maybe that's where that's for. Look at that gun. Look at the deco on the gun. This is what I'm talking about. You guys wanted 3 layers of paint on this. Well, I guess it's 2 layers, 1 base color and 2 layers of paint. That's what costs money. There's his new backpack, and yeah, they use the same mold, I think, as the old backpack, which, with some, you know, there's improvements in the detailing, like that coil of wire, which is smart. They did the same thing for Bodhi, right? The entire backpack on Bodhi, they were just like, well, this is fine, we'll just use it again. And they're right, they should use it again. It was fine. It was one of the best things about that figure. Nice and rubbery. Insert tab A into slot B, slot BAZE, and voila. Now you've got a stone cold killer. One of the great, sorry, spoilers, death scenes, Star Wars history, BAZE going psycho crazy after his boyfriend goes down and just taking out death troopers left and freaking right. Great stuff. Again, no idea where the walkie-talkie goes. I'm going to try sticking it onto the back of his belt. Yeah, it's a bit fussy, but I guess that's where it's supposed to go. I mean, that's as good a place as any. Hopefully it doesn't fall off in a minute and then never be seen again. Skittered under a bookcase and was never seen again. The classic story of 90% of my small accessories. I don't love how unhappy this thing is to stick. That'll probably not be as much of a problem once I get him posed. Yeah, there's your guy. That's it. We are 5 in on the Rogue One crew. We just got to get Bodhi, and that's done. Now, people have been saying it, but Rogue One crew's not done until we have Bor Gullet. I tell you one thing, Bor Gullet's not on the crew. Second of all, if we're going to get anybody else, random people from Rogue One, I want to get Tony Gilroy, because I think his off-screen delivery of Rogue One, there is no Rogue One.
Rogue One. Rogue One? There is no Rogue One.
Is one of the great performances in the history of Star Wars. He actually does it again in the last episode of Andor. He delivers basically the same line, the same tone of voice on a different line. Genius. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for, there's many George Lucas action figures, that's great. I guess there's some Dave Filoni action figures in the Black Series anyway. I don't think we have one in this scale. But I am all for, if they ever did a Tony Gilroy figure, man, I'd be all about it. I'll update you again when Bodhi arrives. Otherwise, that's a great figure. I'm glad we finally have this guy.